Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today, we've got another conversation for you guys.
And today's conversation is all about the LA Auto Show. We had some new debuts that we want to talk to you about. Some of them exciting, some maybe not so much.
Yep, not so much. But, Toyota did bring a couple new cars. And, one of them that we want to talk about first is the...
I think it was the Venza, right? They brought out that new Venza.
No,
yeah.
It's not the Venza. It replaces the Venza because it's basically the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But they're calling it the Crown Signia.
Oh, that's right. Who could forget about that?
Who can forget about that? Because, we've actually put something on social about it. Like 20 of you guys looked at it. So clearly nobody cares about it. And you know what?
Neither do we.
Neither do we.
No.
So
No.
we're going to go ahead and move on.
All right.
Something people actually care a little bit more about.
And that's going to be the Toyota Camry. So I know, kind of strange to think about, but the Prius came out, right, a little bit ago and really made a big splash with its new front end and overall styling design. Huge improvement over the previous one.
Massive improvement. The new Prius is actually a good-looking car.
Yeah. And recently won Motor Trend Car of the Year.
I know. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So not since I think the original or the second generation Prius actually won Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Yeah. So congratulations, Toyota there. Well deserved, I think. I think it's a great looking design.
Yeah, minus all the hashtags throughout the interior. That's a little bit weird.
A little odd, yeah. So we were looking at it, expecting a pretty similar design from the Camry. Front end, there are some similarities there, for sure.
There's a lot of similarities. I mean, they did what they could with the sheet metal they had, right? Because it's just an evolution of the existing Camry, right? But, there's a lot of nice improvements. Mm-hmm. They actually added all-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive with the hybrid powertrain now. And so it's an electric motor that's driving the back wheels.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like dying for a complete refresh of this thing and a brand new I'm not sure why we're thinking about that. I mean, this is a dying market, guys. Mid-size sedans, we're not looking at huge sales increases. So if I'm Toyota, I'm playing a safe bet here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still their second best-selling car after the RAV4. So they've got a lot of sales there, but again, you don't want to reinvent the wheel here.
Don't mess with success. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, they just made it a little bit prettier, made it a little bit nicer inside. You can actually get the hybrid, as I mentioned, is going to be on the all-wheel drive models now, which you couldn't get previously. Sadly, though, the V6 is gone. That excellent V6 that also has a home in the Lotus Emira.
Pretty wild when you think about it,
but that's how good of an engine it is. So
yeah. So I think safe bet for Toyota. We're not going to see many changes before eventually all this stuff goes electric. But as we know, Toyota's a pioneer in hybrid technology, and no surprise here that the Camry is going to be a huge player in that moving forward.
All right. So another huge debut at LA was the Lucid Gravity.
Yes, and when we mean huge. We mean huge. That's a big old buddy.
It's a big old sucker. It's about the size of a Q7. It's kind of unique in that, the overall length is about the same as the Q7, but the interior space is a lot bigger because of how you can package an EV.
Absolutely. Yeah, they played it really smart with this one. You got 3 rows of seating, and you have a almost Dodge version of Stow and Go all the way in the back, which I think is really great.
Oh, it is great. I mean, just all that extra space that you can carve out on an EV, having the electric motors and the batteries on the floor is just really unique. And the piece de resistance is the front.
The front.
Yes. So the front is not just a front.
No.
It actually is a bench.
Yeah, you could go front gating.
I know. It's actually really cool because it's got a little flap that folds out to cover up your paint. So people like us who are a little OCD, we don't scratch up our front bumper with our jeans or whatnot. And it's got a little cushion in there you can sit in and enjoy frunking.
I'm really not sure when I'm ever going to use that, if I'm honest. But
tailgating, stargazing.
It's cool.
Come on, there's opportunity there.
I guess.
Going to a drive-in? There's like 5 of those left in the country.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
It's a distinct
possibility.
And
I appreciate the fact that they're thinking outside the box and giving us something funky because we don't want all the same boring stuff. So props there for that one. The interior on that thing is stunning too. 34-inch display.
Beautiful. And they made a lot of improvements from the Air. They took all the criticism they received from the Air, just from owners and reviewers like us, and said, okay, we're going to make a few changes and make things a little bit more seamless inside. And they really hit the nail on the head. So kudos to the Lucid team for listening.
Absolutely. I really like their attention to detail with this model. Like you said, the big improvements that they're making, they're obviously listening to their customer base, which we like to see. My favorite thing is those bento boxes in the center. I mean, how wacky is that? And you got that smoked glass panel. So I love, we were talking about on a previous episode how we want to get away from that piano black. I mean, you don't see any of that inside this thing.
No.
It's classy, and that smoked glass thing is really cool. You don't see that a lot nowadays, so you can see what's inside that, but not so much. It keeps
it's a very Mad Men vibe.
Yeah,
right? Like I mean, they, one of Lucid's tenets is saying they want to kind of create that like contemporary look.
Right.
The
mid-century modern.
Mid-century modern.
Yeah.
They kind of achieve it. It's
really for sure.
really neat, and especially in something that's supposed to be as groundbreaking and movement forward as an EV.
Absolutely. So I'm really curious where they go forward. I imagine we're going to be looking at, after this, a smaller SUV. I'm kind of shocked they didn't come out with this one first, considering the market and how it's been. But, I mean, the starting price for this one is less than that Air, and you're getting so much for that money. I mean, it's really a great value, I think. We're still talking about something that's $80,000, but when you're looking at the EV market, I mean, if I'm someone who just bought a Lucid Air, I'm like, oh, I may have made a mistake.
I could have got a bigger car for the same amount of money, but you probably have a smaller pack. I think with the $80,000, the version they debuted is going to be the Dream Edition, essentially, right? So it's going to be the dual motor is going to have the full battery range. It's going to have 440 miles of range. So I would expect something a little bit less for 80 grand, but it's still going to be really, really competitive against the X. Yeah,
absolutely. So props there.
Props there.
After the Lucid comes something that's far less groundbreaking, I would say. Maybe used to break some ground, but that's the Subaru Forester. Was recently updated. And I'll be honest with you, not much is going on there except that interesting front end.
Yeah, the front end it's a face only a mother could love, let's be honest. But, I mean, Subaru's design has always kind of been that way. Like, even if you think back to the original Forester, I mean, it wasn't a beautiful car, but it was utilitarian. It was interesting. It looked like nothing else on the road. And I think that's kind of what Subaru's jam is, lack of a better term. Yeah, we want to be a little funky, right? Yes. That's kind of what they want. So you got that new front end. The rest of it, you got some new taillights in the back, but most of it's really carryover. You still have that 2.5 Boxer 4 coming in with that wonderful CVT transmission that we all know and love. I have nothing kind to say about a CVT.
We don't. But, in something like this, I mean, we're not really setting the trails of fire. It would be cool to get a new XT out with the manual.
Are you going to set the trails of fire in your Wilderness Edition?
Hey! Which is bound to debut with some copper accents, right?
It should be coming out.
Absolutely. One of the more striking things coming out of the Subaru, honestly, it's the roof rails. So they were talking about how much thought they put into these roof rails. So there's two different styles of roof rails depending on the model that you're picking. So there's one that already come kind of height adjusted for you to be able to attach any attachments you want to the front of it. Or if you choose one of those sportier models, they're going to be more flush with the body style, and you're going to have to really just kind of link it in there. The fact that they put two different style body rails while making the car so ugly to me is just a really bizarre set of priorities. But
it's a little bit strange to spend that much time on roof rails, but then you got Ford who spend all the time on their tailgate.
This is true. This is true. And on top of the Forester, there's also a third set of roof rails that they have on the Outback. I'm like, wow. Let's get it together. But inside, mostly carryover stuff, some refresh materials, and that wonderful infotainment still carries on that I think is one of the most hated ones in the industry. It's very laggy and very dated in terms of its design. So hopefully we'll see something coming out in a mid-cycle refresh after this refresh to address that issue, because technology is a big player in today's game.
Absolutely. If you've got a bad UI, people are going to shy away from your vehicles. Or if you'd say, hey, I would make a great decision and get rid of CarPlay like some other manufacturers.
GM.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cautious some sales.
Exactly. So with this younger generation coming into the buying market, and this is a pretty big generation coming in now, that's really got to be something that's addressed for Subaru. So hopefully we see that coming out down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that about covers LA. Not too much going on there besides that. Stay tuned because we have some more exciting stuff coming.
That's right. So be sure as always to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.